So South Carolina really struggled. They really struggled in their first game against Michigan. And obviously, things are now completely different now that Ashton Walkins has been allowed play on the team. Look, at the end of the day, I'm just talking about purely basketball. Whether you think she should be playing, she should have been all gone at all, whether you think she should have been allowed back in, is irrelevant when we're talking about pure basketball. Obviously, I don't know enough about this to give any personal opinion. I just know she's back on the team. And she's huge. She's going to be huge for this team, especially missing Cardoso. As we saw in their game against Michigan, how badly this team, they needed Camila Cardoso. Like, if you want to look at the way the team played, they struggled big time without any sort of interior presence. And Silas Swords is the best player on the floor. Again, look, Silas Swords went to the Olympics. She is a hooper. She is a absolute hooper. Like, maybe the best freshman in the country. But Michigan should not have been there with South Carolina. And then they're playing NC State. NC State are going to be tough on Sunday. But thankfully, Chloe Kids did step up on with 14 rebounds. But if you're looking at the rest of the team, their second highest rebounder was their point guard. Like, they are a team that's going to struggle on the interior quite a bit this year because they just don't have the size of Cardoso. Aaliyah Boston is gone. But Ashton Walkins is a big help for that. Like, look, did she average any absolutely crazy numbers last year? No, like 9 and 7. But the difference is, again, like, this is 9 and 7 means a lot more when it's in 20 minutes for an undefeated team. Like, she averaged 2.4 blocks per game in 20 minutes per game. Like, that, there's a couple of times, if you guys watch the way Silas Swords was able to just get in, the way she was able to literally just attack downhill. And in fairness, I think Silas Swords is hard to block because she has, like, so many, like, falling left, switching right, releasing the ball with both hands. Like, she's just crafty. So maybe it would have made no difference if Ashton Walkins was there as an interior presence, but she is some interior presence. Like, is she the best player on the South Carolina team? No. But she could be, like, their most important. Like, if they're going to win a national championship, she's got to be there. Like, she's got to be there. So Dawn Staley obviously was asked about this, and this is what she said. I have just realized I have put this on mute. Sorry.
Just I'm going to make this statement about Ashlyn. Ashlyn is back. We welcome her back. We're going to let her get acclimated to being back on the team, and we look forward to just, having our entire team back in the fold.
Questions for Coach? What's it like? What's it like having Ashlyn back? What's it been the past few days? It must feel like, hey, we're all back together again.
Yeah, I mean, we're at our very best when we got our full roster.
Like, I cannot believe she was asked what she was basically asked about Ashton Walkins being back, and then the first question she was asked was, "What's it like with her being back?" Come on.
Especially healthy. So it feels good. It feels natural. It doesn't feel unnatural to us. It feels like we're complete now.
Did she
looks great.
A little rusty? Or?
No, she looks great. Now the highlighters might throw a little rust comment at her, but she looks natural.
What does acclimated mean?
Acclimated?
Yeah. What is your definition of acclimation? Getting acclimated.
What are they asking? What are these journalists asking? What is your definition of acclimated? Like, come on.
Haven't been here. Now she's here. Now she's got to get acclimated to the being here. Doing 12:30 to 3:30. Her schedule is probably a little bit off. So just getting back to her normal like routine, her daily routine.
Do you expect her to be acclimated enough to play Sunday?
If she's out here, she's gonna play. Like, yeah.
And just.
Oh my God! Like, can these journalists like? Thank God I'm putting this at 1.5 times speed because they're just like, she's looking confused and she's like, you are actually asking me this, and rightfully so.
So it's the same approach. You guys got something else? Come on back. Come on back. See, I gotta come back to it. I got you. Huh?
I'm just wondering. I mean, this is a big thing for her coming back, and it's been a mess. I'm just wondering. You're used to dealing with blowbacks. You're used to it. You're an adult. She's going to hear a lot of things at some other gyms. How is she prepared for it?
I mean, listen. The charges have been dismissed. Okay, on their way to expungement. Is it a hard thing for a young person to deal with? Absolutely. It was hard for all the young people that were involved in the altercation. I mean, it's hard for our university and our athletics department. It's hard for, even the solicitor's office. It's hard for her lawyers. It's hard for everybody. But I imagine that this isn't the first time that it's happened on any campus. So you deal with it. You deal with it head on, just like Ashlyn did. And now she finds herself back. We're not going to keep reliving it. We're going to keep getting better and making better decisions.
But my point is that she's going to go into Starkville or Austin or somewhere and there's going to be signs. I mean, we know how people are. What advice would you give her?
Ashlyn will be who she is. She's created some really good habits. And, you saw.
These are kind of dumb questions. Like, not dumb questions, but like, it's the media looking for sound bites again. In fairness, I thought Dawn Staley actually did pretty well with those questions. But at the end of the day, look, whether or not she should be playing or not, at the end of the day, like, I don't know what actually went on in that scenario. I don't think anyone else knows what went on in that scenario. The reality is charges are dropped. She's playing. She's going to hear it for the entire year from opposing fans. We saw what happened with Brandon Miller. And either way, she's going to just change everything for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Like, if they're going to win the championship, they're going to need Ashton Walkins to play. And look, I don't think they're better than, for example, UConn. I think UConn are better than them. And I think the big problem with Watkins is that you can very, very much... So not with Watkins, sorry, with UConn, is that you can literally just not guard Raven Johnson. I think that's their biggest flaw, is you do not have to guard Raven Johnson. Like, this is a real good team. But the problem is if your point guard, if you can double team down on bigs, they don't even need to double team really down on bigs, because as good as Kitts is, as good as Watkins is, you don't need to double off Cardoso, like they would for Cardoso or Boston. So yeah, this will be an interesting one. It'll be a really interesting one because, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this South Carolina team. Like, I've watched them. I watched these players last year, and like, I would hope that sooner rather than later, Full Wiley's playing more than 15 minutes a game. Like, Full Wiley has to be a bigger part, has to be a big part of their offense. Like, she only played 18 minutes last year. Like, she is a athletic scoring guard, and yeah, again, the problem is with this team is just there's a lack of shooting. They got a lot of size. They got Staley. They got a lot of good players. But it's going to be very interesting to see. Maybe this was a blip. Maybe this one game was a blip. But I will say, outside, like, if I think that genuinely they would have no chance if Watkins wasn't playing. But I do think Watkins puts them in that, like, shout of having a chance to win the national championship again, because no one's going undefeated this year. I would be shocked if there's a team that goes undefeated this year. I don't think it's going to be SC. I think UConn might lose a game. USC are definitely not going undefeated. They're literally if one of their two best players goes cold, they can lose to anybody. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. But Watkins does make South Carolina a hell of a lot better. Like, she is going to shore them up on the boards. They did have a lack of an inside presence against a team that got cooked on the inside by a freshman. And look, if Watkins plays that game, it's not that it's not close, but like, there's no question until the very end whether or not South Carolina are winning. They're winning that game with her.